welcome to the youth camp video for Camp Tifie. We want to thank you for signing up to attend Tifie. We're super excited, and we hope to be able to provide you with the best information that I can. My name is Adam Hall. I'm the camp director for Camp Tifie, and behind me is the lodge at camp. And we'll talk about the lodge a little bit. It will be important for some of the information that we have to talk about today. A little bit about myself. I've been running camps for a few years now. This is my second year as the director specifically for Tifie. I love Tifie, and I'm really excited for what's to come. I'm married and I have a 1-year-old daughter, and I love everything outdoors, which is one of the reasons why I work for the Scouts. And yeah, I just like spending time outside. So getting into just a little bit, as we're going through everything, as you have questions, there's kind of 2 resources that I want you to make note of. The first is the Leader's Guide, which can be found at utahscouts.org/Tifie. There's a couple of Leader's Guides on there. The one specifically for the youth camps is marked Youth Camps. So go on there. A lot of the information we'll talk about in this video will also be found in the Leader's Guide. So if you have questions, you can refer to that. That's where you can find a lot of the forms we'll talk about, a map, schedules, things like that. The other resource is me. You can email me at adam.hall@scouting.org, and we can chat about your questions and things to help you get prepared for camp. So I know you're excited. I know your youth are excited, and I'm excited to help provide you, along with my staff, the program that you are hoping we have to offer. So camp, if you don't know where it is, it's located just above Mount Pleasant, Utah, which is Mount Pleasant is about a 2-hour drive from Salt Lake. And then it's just above that up in the mountains. And usually pretty much any map service you use has Tifie on there. So it's pretty easy. You just look up Camp Tifie and it'll be in Mount Pleasant. So that's how you know you've got the right one for mapping there. Now, depending on if you have the 3-day schedule, if you're here for the 3-day Monday through Wednesday, or the 4-day, which is normally the Wednesday through Saturday, your time of arrival is a little bit different. And so that's important to know because especially between the 3-day and the 4-day on Wednesday, we need a little bit of time to get the groups that are here for the 3-day to help you get out of camp before the next group comes into camp and make sure we are ready to go. So these times are pretty important to know. On Monday, we recommend you come up by about 8 o'clock in the morning. And then on Wednesday, we ask that you show up at about noon, between noon and 1. And that just gives you the most time to get here or get to camp and get set up and get ready to go before our rotations start. And then as part of that, we'll have a leaders meeting that happens shortly before the rotation. You just need to send 1 leader to that, and we'll be able to go over some specific questions, talk about some different things that we won't necessarily talk about today that may be developed as we're at camp or things like that. So that'll be an important part of your program. As far as kind of the driving in and parking and everything, we will allow every group to have 1 trailer in their campsite. We don't allow vehicles to be parked at the campsite specifically. And so those will all need to be parked at the parking lot, which is kind of below camp if you're looking at the map. Now, we will allow a truck to bring a bunch of the stuff and drop it off at the campsite, just 1 vehicle per group. And you'll drop off the stuff. If there's more, you'll just take that vehicle down and load it up and take up that stuff. So the same vehicle will be used for loading and everything. All the rest, if you have more, will be parked. And then once stuff is done being dropped off, it'll just go down to the parking lot. As part of that, remember to have the forms In the leader's guide, there's kind of some parking pass forms. Make sure you have those filled out and in each of the vehicles, so we know that your vehicles are supposed to be there. Just as part of keeping everyone safe, we just want to make sure that we know if a vehicle or a person is not supposed to be at camp. And so this is just important in making sure that we can keep track of that. Make sure that your youth are ready to maybe carry some stuff up. That will help kind of the loading in process, because we like to do kind of a little tour of camp when you show up at the parking lot right at the front of camp. We get all the youth out and we like to just walk them up through just so they can get familiar with camp, be excited, and just have them carry like a backpack or a couple of things just to help kind of make the loading a little bit easier and a little simpler. As part of that, the check-in process going, the next step is the check-in process, which is where we'll take all of the forms that you've brought, and that will be at the lodge, which is the building behind me. So you'll just need to send 1 leader to that. That's where you'll bring the roster, you'll bring the health forms, you'll bring the insurance information, and as well as the swim check. And we'll talk about the swim check just a little bit more here in a little bit. But you'll bring all of those forms, you'll come into the lodge, and we'll be there to receive you, to help you and get you settled in to camp and make sure we have all that squared away, payments and everything. And we'll make sure that's good. And that will just be at the lodge. As far as the health forms go, just remember parts A and B are what is required, and that is in the leader's guide. So you can find that there. Just as a reminder, all the payments, the first half of the payment is due May 1st, and then the other half of the payment is due 2 weeks before you come to camp. So keep those dates in mind. And then as part of, if you're coming with a church group, then there's some insurance requirements with that. And the leader's guide includes kind of the information on how to get that. And it's laid out pretty well step by step on how to find that or get that. I want to talk about kind of the programs we have to offer, so you have an idea of what we got as you're planning and getting prepared for everything. I'll just kind of lay out kind of the activity stations. So we have our swimming program with our pool, and that's where I kind of mentioned the swim checks as part of our requirements for BSA safety. Everyone has to go through kind of swim tests just to make sure that we can kind of gauge their ability as a swimmer, and that dictates kind of the areas of the pool that they're allowed to swim at. And that swim check form to do is also in the leader's guide. And we recommend that you do that before you come to camp. We let people go to just a pool. You can show the lifeguard, and they're more than willing to help you with that. And that just is one less thing that you have to do when you come up to camp. You don't want to try and come up and set everything up and get your youth into the pool to swim and then get them out and get them ready for whatever the rotation is. It's just one less thing and all the chaos of showing up. And so we have that form on there for you to be able to do before, when you have more time to prepare and get that done. And it's less stressful when you first come up to camp. So that's something to keep in mind. And then we have our COPE courses. We have a high COPE and a low COPE course. And if you don't know what those are, basically the low COPE course is focused on team specific games. And those are kind of on the ground things. And they're just a lot of fun. And the staff they have a lot of really fun games and really challenging games for your youth to kind of work out together. And then the high COPE course is more personal growth and overcoming things involving heights and different elements of a big ropes course that we've got, and overcoming some fears. And it's a lot of fun, and the youth really, really thrive there. And I love seeing youth kind of overcome their fears and really show themselves the good things that they can do. So that's there. We also have group games. So we've got things like horseshoes, volleyball, 9 square, gaga ball, and all those are kind of part of a rotation. And if you have other group games you like playing, that's also a great time for that. But we have some specific games that we have there for you to use. And then we have our shooting sports program that is rifle and archery. It's just 22s and bows. And we have the staff for that, and they're trained and ready to go with that. And so, yeah, so that's a great program for our youth to do. And then you'll see on the schedule, which is in the leader's guide, you'll see kind of a listed, and I want to mention this, it's called group time. And that is usually kind of in the evenings. And if you are here for the 4-day camp, there will be some extra group time to fill in some of the rotations. And that's just time, especially in the evening. That's time for you. We know that you want time to have specific activities for your youth, whether that's spiritually based or team based or whatever. We want to make sure that you have time for those things. And so the evenings are generally set aside for you to do that. We also have things like a campfire in the evenings, and as well, the first evening as an option for you to attend if you would like to do that. And that's done by our staff. So that's kind of some big things to know. And you can find kind of the full schedule on the leader's guide. So if you have any questions or things you want to know about that, please email me and we can chat about that. And then kind of moving on from the program, kind of in the program, but is important. Food is a big thing, and there's kind of two options that you have for that. The first option is we provide the food for you. We cook it, you just come eat it. And that's a great option. And a lot of people use that. And we love to provide you with that food and take that extra logistical challenge off of your shoulders and help you with that. So that's kind of the first option. And then the second option is to just bring your own food. And we just want to make you aware that the storage of that food and all of that is on you, and something that you would have to kind of figure out if you're going to bring your own food, which is why we let a trailer be at your campsite if you are bringing your own food, or if you have gear, food stuff that you want to store in there. That's why we're letting you have the trailer, is for that. And so those options are there. And if you do have specific questions about the food, you want to talk about that, you can email me, or you can call our camp service desk. And the phone number for that is 801-479-5460. You can call that number, and they're more than willing to kind of help you out and ask and answer some of your questions about the food, or maybe other things you can call about as well. And then kind of to end, just some safety rules that we want you to be aware of before, just some safety things to keep in mind. The first one, we don't allow climbing trees in camp. So please make sure you know that we don't allow that. If you have youth who want to sleep in hammocks, we don't allow those to be strapped to the trees. They have to bring their own hammock stand for those to be able to sleep in those. Allergies are a big thing. We don't want to give anybody food that they're allergic to. And so we need to be prepared and be able to get that food to provide for youth and adults with allergies. And so if you would please go on to utahscouts.org/allergy. There's a form there you can fill out for all of those in your groups that that have allergy needs. Fill out that form so that we know, and we're able to reach out and kind of discuss that a little bit further before you come up, just so we can know how to best provide food for them. And then fire is kind of another big thing. And we're consistently watching fire restrictions that the state may have, and we do follow those. It is good to know that specifically for Tifie, we don't have fire pits in any of our campsites anyways. And so burning wood fires is just not something that happens in our campsites. If you would like to bring up like a propane fire pit, that is acceptable. Unless we have a fire restriction in camp, then we won't allow those. Under a fire restriction, the only things we'll allow for use will be cooking stoves like camp chefs and those kinds of things. We will still allow those in the event of a fire restriction. And if you want to keep up to date on what we have specifically for that, you can go to utahscouts.org/safety, And that's where you can kind of keep up on any fire restrictions we may have towards the summer and during the summer. And then kind of the last big safety thing, there are bears at Camp Tifie that kind of live around. We have them visit a lot during the off season. And so it's important that we take precautions and measures to not encourage bears to come visit us. And so that includes things like proper storage of food items and smellables and that kinds of things. Again, that's why we have the trailer. That's something to be aware of. We don't want bears coming and interacting with the youth and your stuff. And so we just ask that you take the measures necessary to keep your stuff safe. Cell service, there is cell service in camp pretty much anywhere. The best service is down kind of at the parking lot, but there is service kind of all over camp. And so that's something to know as you're preparing. There is cell service. However you want to, that affects maybe your plans or things to know. There is cell service in camp. As you're preparing for camp, if you would like to come see the facilities and kind of get things in your mind, including the lodge, as you're preparing to come, we will have an open house. It'll be on May 21st. That's a Saturday between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. I'll be there and you'll be able to come look at everything. I can help kind of direct you towards whatever you're looking for. Your campsites, you can come see those, all the facilities, and get an idea of kind of options for where you may want to have a little events you're doing, and we can kind of start making those reservations for those specific things then. So that'll be a great opportunity for you to come plan and kind of help you. So bring the leaders, come check out things, and we'll be excited to have you then. Again, if you have any questions for me regarding Camp Tifie and preparing for that, you can email me at adam.hall@scouting.org, or you can call our camp service desk. The number again, 801-479-5460. We're super excited at camp. Our staff is getting put together. They're getting trained right now. They're excited. They're super, they love camp. They want to be there, and we want to make sure you have the best time you can at camp. So again, reach out if you have any questions, and we look forward to seeing you. Thanks.